Nathan Voss smelled it before he saw it. Sweet, chemical, faint under the heater vent. He was 90 minutes into a 4-hour drive. A small orange icon blinked once on the dash. Then it went dark, like it had never been there. He glanced at it, shrugged, and kept driving. The garage where he'd bought this car had called it bulletproof. Nathan sold surgical equipment for a living, which meant highways, long ones, empty ones, the kind that eat a morning whole. He'd chosen the BMW wagon for one reason. It never quit. German engineering, the salesman said, like it was a fact of physics. Nathan believed him. He wanted to believe him. His daughter rode shotgun on Friday runs, feet on the dash. She kept a stuffed fox wedged in the cup holder facing forward. Nathan liked to think the car was watching the road with her. He changed the oil on schedule. He never missed a service. He trusted the machine the way you trust a good dog. That trust was the whole reason he never looked twice at the smell. 3 weeks after the blinking icon, it came back. This time, it didn't go away. He pulled into a rest stop outside a town he'd forget by morning, popped the hood. Steam, thin and sour, drifted off a hose fitting. Underneath it, a faint, wet film, almost like sweat on metal. He wiped it with his thumb. It came away slick and sweet-smelling. Not oil, not gas, something else entirely. He called a mechanic he trusted, described it over the phone. The mechanic went quiet for a second too long. "That's usually on the inside," he finally said. "You wouldn't see it." Nathan asked what that meant. The mechanic didn't have a real answer for him. If the leak was happening somewhere he couldn't see it, how many miles had he already driven blind? 2 weeks later, climbing a grade outside the city, the engine stuttered, just once, a missed breath like the car had flinched. The orange icon lit again and refused to go dark this time. That night he searched his exact symptoms online, half hoping for nothing. He found a forum instead, page after page of the same story. A 535D owner in another state, an X5 owner overseas, different badges, different years, the identical smell, the identical warning light. This wasn't his car failing him. This was something built into an entire family of engines, quietly waiting inside thousands of driveways that looked nothing alike. They knew for years and said nothing. Subscribe, because there's more like this. What none of the forum posts could tell him was the timing. The leak wasn't constant. It didn't announce itself on command. It needed heat, and it needed hours, the kind highway driving supplies. Short trips to the grocery store never woke it up at all. It was the long, steady drives Nathan loved that fed it, the very habit that made him trust the car was arming it. Somewhere behind the engine, residue was gathering in total silence, building toward a threshold nobody had told him existed. There would be no second warning light before it happened. There would just be the moment it happened. The next long haul, 2 hours in, he caught the first wisp in the mirror. Thin, gray, curling off the hood seam like a whisper. He told himself it was dust off the road. It wasn't. By the time he pulled onto the shoulder, the wisp was a column. He got out. He got the fox from the cup holder first. Then he stood on frozen gravel and watched the hood glow at the edges. No sirens yet, just the tick of cooling metal and his own breathing. A flame found the wiper fluid line and climbed almost gently. He didn't move. He just watched something he'd trusted eat itself alive. Somewhere behind him, cars slowed, then sped up, then were gone. The reason wasn't in the engine. It was decided in a meeting years earlier. The part behind that smell had a name, an exhaust gas recirculation cooler. Its job was simple. Cool exhaust before feeding it back into the engine, a trick used to meet tightening emissions rules across the whole lineup. Inside it, a wall separated hot exhaust soot from liquid coolant. That wall could crack. When it did, coolant met soot and heat together. The mixture didn't burn instantly. It smoldered, slow and hidden, for hours. The sweet smell at the rest stop had been the first leak. The stutter on the grade had been soot beginning to choke the intake. The fire on the shoulder had been the smolder finally reaching ignition. 3 discoveries. 1 shared wound, threaded through the whole model range. The cruelest part wasn't the part itself. Parts fail, that's expected. The cruelest part was the timeline sitting quietly in company records. An internal team had been assigned to this exact defect 3 years before a single public recall notice reached an owner like Nathan. 3 years of drivers being told explicitly that their cars were safe. 3 years of long highway drives unknowingly arming the same weakness. The flaw was mechanical. The silence around it was a choice. Once the fires started reaching the press, they were hard to unsee. Nearly 40 vehicles caught fire in one country in a single year. Regulators there banned unchecked cars from the road entirely, overnight. Owners who'd bought a symbol of reliability were suddenly told to park it. Investigators later concluded the automaker had downplayed what it already knew and issued a fine for the delay, the framing, the quiet years. The recall that followed eventually reached 1.6 million vehicles worldwide. It should have ended there. It didn't. New recalls for the identical leak kept surfacing in the years after, on cars built long after the fix was supposed to exist. The flaw was never really the cracked wall inside a cooler. The flaw was that somebody had already mapped every inch of it and chose a very long silence instead of a phone call. Nathan bought another car eventually, not the same brand. Some mornings he still pops the hood before he leaves the driveway, just to look, just to be sure, before he trusts it with the day.